we are here for you. Like, specifically, SAS is here for you. Don't be afraid to reach out, even if it's to a friend. And if you feel comfortable in having them kind of notify us, but just know that we are an Aggie family for a reason. We are here for a reason. We're here to support you, and know that it's okay to not be okay, but also know that there is support systems specifically in place to help guide you and navigate through whatever situation you're feeling right now.
This is On Air with Student Affairs. I'm your host, Elizabeth Drake, and today we are here with Student Assistance Services to talk a little bit about Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'd love to get started by hearing a little bit about each of you, your names, your titles, and then also what brought you to working at Texas A&M.
Oh, okay. I can go first.
Whoever.
My name's Kristen Brunson. I'm a program manager in student life in the area of Student Assistance Services. I have been with Texas A&M for going on 11 years, but I actually started with the University Police Department. And so that's kind of where I started at A&M, moved over to student life about 3 years ago. So been in kind of the social work helping field for a while, but was ready to kind of do more student-focused work, and so ended up over in Student Assistance Services.
Awesome.
My name is Adam Lemasters. I am class of 16, and I currently work as a case manager within student life, specifically Student Assistance Services. What brought me to this line of work was by accident. They had the job open. I applied for it, but I fell in love with it. And for me, it's very fulfilling. I love what I do.
Hi, I'm Angela Winkler, and I am an assistant director in the Department of Student Life, overseeing student assistance services. I'm class of 95 and 98. And so after undergrad and then in grad school, I started working full time and worked in several departments throughout the Division of Student Affairs. And I left, and this job came across my desk or through my email. And I thought, wow, that sounds interesting. And then it brought me back to Texas A&M.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit about each of y'all. I'd love to start off by, for anyone who may be watching that doesn't know what Student Assistance Services is and student life, if you could tell us a little more about that.
Sure. So Student Life is a department within the Division of Student Affairs, and our mission is education, outreach, and support. And that looks like a number of different things. Within the department, we have our new student and family programs who help put on the new student conferences and family weekend. We have graduate and professional student government. We have a student attorney. So a variety. There's a few others as well. Student Assistance Services specifically is really about helping students who find themselves in some sort of crisis or distress. Of course, that also can look very different to different people. And so we sort of think of ourselves as problem solvers. It's one of the ways that we use to describe ourselves often.
How would you guys say you fit into the broader support system at Texas A&M?
So I think really kind of like Angela talked about, we're here for students who are experiencing some sort of distress, emergency, crisis. And so kind of a landing place for students when they know there's something out there, they know there's support out there, people care, but they're not really sure where to go, who to talk to. We have a really large university. And so I see us as kind of helping make that our university feel a little bit smaller. And kind of a place where students can go when they're like, I know I need something, I'm experiencing this, but I'm not kind of sure what to do, where to go. And so Student Assistance Services can kind of be that landing place where they can meet with somebody and say, this is kind of what's going on. Maybe even they're not saying it, but our case managers are kind of picking up on some different things. And so we're able to really kind of triage, if you will, students to where they need to go. What resources are out there? What kind of support do they need? And because each situation is different, we really take the time to try to meet with students and figure out what it is they might need. And so we're not going to see all 80,000 students come across our office, but hopefully the ones that do kind of help this university feel smaller when it comes to support and care and things that they may need while they're here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I noticed how you touched on, obviously, you're not going to see all 80,000 students at Texas A&M. For students who are maybe at home watching, or they can share this with any other friends, With Mental Health Awareness Month coming up, what are some things to be aware of when it comes to mental health in relation to college?
Mental health challenges and issues can affect so many different people at so many different times of their life. And college age students are often experiencing those things for the first time. And so, if they've never felt anxiety before, or maybe they've been anxious about an exam, but this seems more persistent, it's okay. It doesn't mean that they're fundamentally flawed, but that it is common and there are resources available. I think that that's one piece that I would really want students to know, is that it is more common than they probably realize.
Yeah, I think I would add to that too, that a lot of students, I think when their friends come to them, they think, I've got to fix this or I've got to solve this for my friend. I think it's important for anyone that's watching or maybe caring for someone in that situation. You don't have to have all the answers. That's why our office and many other offices around campus do exist, is because those are the people that may be able to help, may be able to refer, may be able to support. And so I think sometimes really good intentioned friends think, I've got to solve this problem. I've got to fix it. And it is okay to say, I support you, but let me get you to someone who can help you. So I think if students are listening that are dealing with that and kind of being that landing place for their friend, know that there is resources where they can really get their friend over to that person or that office to say, hey, how can we help?
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing that there's a lot of resources on campus and that it's just not on you as a college student alone to figure out what's going on.
Exactly.
Yes. If I could just add on a little bit, if someone shares something with you reaching out for help for that person, for that friend, is not going to get them in trouble. I think sometimes there is a hesitation to try to get their friend that help that they need because they are worried that their friend might think that they betrayed them in some way, but they're not in trouble. And so I think that also kind of can just add on to everything Kristen said.
Yeah, absolutely. How would a student go about that? Let's say you have a friend that you maybe want, they need someone to check up on them, just make sure they're doing all right. How would the student go about that?
There are multiple different ways that students can reach out, either for themselves or someone that they are kind of concerned about. One of the most common ways that we get notified of students is through the Tell Somebody reporting system. So what that is just a Texas A&M wide reporting system that can be anonymous for those reporting. That way they don't want to kind of feel like they're tattling on their friends or anything like that. What it is it just lets us know a concern that they have, faculty have, staff have about a certain student on campus. And it is our main way to get notified of students to know that there is an issue going on. There is something that they have concern about. And so we try to reach out to those students directly, get in contact with them, say, hey, we're here for support. What is going on? What's the situation? Let's learn more about you, what you're going through, and how to best support you from our office directly, or what resources are there on campus to better provide you with that resource. Yeah. For me, that's the main way that we get notified of that, is through the Tell Somebody reporting system.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that too kind of piggybacks off of, I know we frequently talk about how everyone here is an Aggie family, and it's more of, we're not just like colleagues, but like everyone truly cares about each other. And if you truly care about someone, then that's all you're doing by reaching out. And it sounds like it's a very simple process and anyone can do it. What are some stressors to look out for? I know you mentioned earlier that it's completely normal when you get to college. It's a lot. It's a big change. What are some things that people can identify and be like, you know what, this might be a stressor, and how can I be proactive about this? Or how do I know that this is normal?
Sure. So definitely finances, money issues, right? I think that stresses all of us out, but college students can feel that as well. If maybe someone in their family, their job has changed, or a family member lost a job, or anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be that extreme even. It can be that the student themselves is just, maybe they got behind on rent and now they don't know how to get out of that. Or maybe they had unexpected medical expenses. Medical issues can also be a stressor.
Yeah.
Relationships, whether that's friendships or romantic relationships. When one of those ends, that's definitely a stressor. I think our University Health Services counseling services offer such good resources for a number of those different pieces. And so I think if students find themselves feeling any of these stressors, they can go online, and sometimes they can find some things that they can do for themselves in addition to maybe making an appointment or something like that. But, or if as a student, I see my friend dealing with some of those things, then trying to guide them that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we touched on a lot, kind of the after action plans or what can you do when things arise. But obviously, college is stressful, as we've already talked about. But what are some proactive things students can do that you guys recommend going into stressful periods of time, like finals?
Sure. One of the things we tell students often is to get ahead of a problem. So if they notice they're struggling with a class, they're overwhelmed with something, they don't understand a process, ask early. Don't wait until the last minute, because often there's options ahead of time. But if we wait too late in the semester or too much past the deadline, there's less options. And so that's one of the things proactively is ask soon, ask quickly. If you don't understand, ask someone. It's okay to not know the answer to everything. And as far as, some of those other stressors, some things we can't plan ahead for. But just knowing and understanding what you're walking into and what you're going into, look at your budget at the beginning of the semester. Plan again early. Think about what that might look like as you're nearing midterm, coming to the end. What is that going to look like? And kind of planning ahead of time. And then as far as academically, take advantage of the resources that are out there. A&M has so many good resources. And I think students often are like, I don't really need that, or that's probably for someone who needs it much more than me. No, it's for every student here. So take advantage of that. Be proactive in some of that. Don't wait till you're completely overwhelmed by material or circumstances to really reach out and seek those resources.
Yeah.
I also think it can be helpful for students to sort of identify what their support looks like. So is it a roommate? Is it a friend from home? Is it family? Is it whatever that might look like for them, but trying to identify who are those people in my life that I feel are supportive so that if I hit a roadblock or if I come up against some challenge, I already have that in place. I already know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more easy to then reach out and try to, receive that support.
Yeah, absolutely. So building off of that, what advice would you give us to a student who feels alone or like it's just them going through their struggles right now?
I would say my advice to that student is we are here for you. Like specifically, SAS is here for you. Don't be afraid to reach out, even if it's to a friend. And if you feel comfortable in having them kind of notify us, but just know that we are an Aggie family for a reason. We are here for a reason. We're here to support you, and know that it's okay to not be okay, but also know that there is support systems specifically in place to help guide you and navigate through whatever situation you're feeling right now.
Yeah, and I think too, remembering that everybody's journey looks really different. So just because in your first semester at A&M, you didn't get into the organization or the group or something that you wanted, this university is large. It can be overwhelming to find a place to connect because we feel like that should be automatic, right? There's so many student organizations. You can find the right one for you. And I think sometimes when that doesn't happen, it's really discouraging to our students who feel less engaged. So just reminding students that it looks different for everybody. It may not be right off the bat. It may take some time and some different strategies and ways, and that's okay. But I think we have this mindset sometimes walking in, students who are like, this is so big, I should automatically find my place. And when it doesn't happen, I think they get really discouraged. So just reminding students that it can happen at any time in many different ways, and it can look different for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So what might be some signs for students just when they're reflecting and thinking about how they're feeling that it might be a good time to reach out for more help or to utilize some of those resources we've been talking about?
I think if they are noticing some things about themselves, they're sleeping much more than normal, much less than normal. They're eating much more than normal or much less than normal. Those two particular things can be indicators sometimes that there might be some underlying something that they might want to reach out and try to get some help with. Sometimes it can be a feeling of stuckness, that they can maybe recognize that there's something that feels off, but they're not sure what to do, or even maybe they're not even sure how to identify it. And so maybe in those moments, that could be a time to reach out as well.
Yeah.
I would say, to piggyback off of that, it's definitely, if there's a slight change in a routine for a student, that even if you notice in a friend, like they used to get up at this time, they used to go out more in terms of walking, going to the gym or anything like that, like those random slight changes, while not necessarily always are indicative of something wrong, it's always good to at least ask, like, hey, I noticed you haven't been eating much. You haven't been coming to family dinners or anything like that. You haven't been doing things that you enjoy. You've been staying up late. You've been doom scrolling. That's a big thing. I feel like that's a thing nowadays is doom scrolling. Like, just check in on those friends. Even if it's just like a, hey, how are you? That goes a long way, more than people think.
Mm-hmm. So I know, speaking from my own personal experience, there's so much stigma surrounding mental health when it comes to college students. And clearly there's so many incredible resources right at our fingertips as students. What would you say to a current student who may be at least feeling a little bit of that stigma and it's preventing them from wanting to reach out or utilize resources?
I think that that's really common. Maybe less common than it was 10 years ago, but definitely still there. And, we can say the things like, it's okay to ask for help and some things, but if you're walking in and you're unsure about it, then you're going to be less likely to, use your supports as you can, look up and kind of read about the resources, become comfortable with them. Maybe that kind of helps. But maybe find someone that you feel supported by that can kind of help connect you. One of the things we often have noticed and we really try to do is when we're referring someone is to say, I think you should go talk to Angela. I know Angela, and this is what I know about her. And so if you kind of have some supports that can maybe kind of help, or you are that support for someone to say, hey, like, I know this person, it tends to be a little bit less intimidating and less scary if it's like, this is just a regular person. You don't have to, share your life story or go into all this detail, but maybe they can just kind of help you with this one little thing and just kind of maybe plant that seed of, I know this person, or there's this connection. And I think that can kind of help surround some of that stigma. And I will tell you too, our case managers are not counselors. So if someone's like, I don't need a counselor, well, great. There's these, this group on campus that are not counselors that you can talk to. And maybe that kind of helps around some of that stigma. But I think if you're supporting, a friend or a student through that, just kind of try to help build that connection of, I know this person, or, maybe there's this office I've heard about and I saw them speak somewhere and it seems like they're really nice people. I think that sometimes tends to help that handoff be a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
I love that you talked about how staff are not counselors, because I do think that sometimes helps us get students in when we receive information from a Tell Somebody report or whatever that looks like. We can make those cold calls sometimes to students, which sounds intimidating, but we can make those calls and say, hey, come in, let's just talk. I'm not a counselor. I really love that Kristen said that, because I do think, and then when they're sitting with the case manager, we can talk with them if they may actually be interested in counseling, but they're just so unsure because it's unknown. And we can actually talk to them about, here's what a counseling session might look like.
Yeah.
Or not. It could look like this. It could look like a lot of different things, but here's some things maybe to expect in that, so that it's not as hard to walk into that unknown.
Yeah.
And we can even walk them upstairs, which is great to be in the same building.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. For me, what I love most about my job and kind of navigating that stigma that students feel is I get to walk them through what to expect from which offices that I'm going to be handing them off to. I can kind of give them a feeling of, oh, I'm going to go to counseling. This is what I can expect to go in. I'm going to go to the career center. This is what I can expect. This is who I can expect to meet. And just letting them know that, kind of like putting any stress off of their shoulders a little bit, like, okay, like Adam told me what to expect here. And now I can easily go in there and not feel like I'm going to be judged. Like, that's our job. Our job is to never judge. It's always support
Mm-hmm. It sounds
Yeah.
like it's just Aggies helping Aggies.
all day.
Awesome. So for a student who is maybe in crisis or needing help super urgently, what would be their next steps for reaching out to SAS?
I would say this first because I feel like I should say this first. If they're in an emergency situation and they need some sort of immediate response, that's going to be our university police department, right? So if it is, I need somebody right now, emergency, that's going to be law enforcement, right? And so I think there's sometimes this misconception that, oh, I need a welfare concern on a student. Well, that would come from our law enforcement. If it's, I need to get in to see someone, always they can call our office. We also, in the afternoons from 12 to 5, try to have one of our case managers kind of on standby for a walk-in crisis appointment if needed. And so we can always take in students that way. They can email Student Life. They'll get directed to us. So there's several different ways, but if they were needing something right away, and it wasn't an emergency, definitely call or just walk in over to Student Service Building. We're in Suite 209. And our receptionist can help get them scheduled, can help get them seen right away, or get them to where they need to be.
Yeah. So what does it look like and what are the next steps if a student reaches out?
If they reach out to our office, typically what's going to happen, and I say typically because there's all kinds of different scenarios, is our office is going to schedule them to meet with a case manager. It can be any of our case managers. It's typically, if they don't have some sort of request, it's going to be who's available the quickest for what they need. And then they would come in, they're going to sit down. It's not a counseling session, right? So they're going to, hey, let's talk, kind of, why are you here? And we always tell students, you can share as much or as little as you want to. This is not a place where we're demanding information out of you. Share what you're comfortable with, right? And so that's kind of what that's going to look like if they reach out. If it's one of those situations where someone has reached out for them, they may get a call from us saying, hey, we would love to meet with you. Someone's reached out in concern. We're never going to give them the information of who or how, because honestly, it can come from a lot of different ways. Even anonymously, we have an anonymous text line through our Tell Somebody reporting system where we can get information. But that reach out is really about support. We want to support you. There might be something going on. Let's talk about it and let's see if there's something that we can get you as far as resources or support.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of help answer that question.
Yeah, no,
okay.
It definitely does. I noticed too how you you spoke about supporting those students. And I know we touched on it earlier as well of how you can support your peers. But what other advice would you give to either family members or students about how they can support their friends and family?
I would say advice specifically to families and parents who are kind of sending off their son or daughter for the first time, and it's a long distance kind of thing for them. Just for those first few weeks of college, if they're not actively messaging you back, they're probably just getting involved in things and they're finding their own way and navigating their own path to get involved, because it is a big campus. So they want to just find out what is A&M offering and providing for me. So if you don't hear back right away, it's okay. But just know that if that becomes a more of a consistent concern, we're here to help navigate on how to get that student to contact their parent. Like, hey, call your mom, call your dad. Let's do that.
I think it goes back a little to what Kristen mentioned earlier. I think our students are so kind and caring, and they care so much about their friends that they do want to help. And remembering that they are not mental health professionals, that they're not, there to fix the problems, but maybe they're there to just get them to the people who can help them. And so maybe it's a situation where the friend might say, hey, let me go with you. I'll go with you to meet with someone in counseling. I'll go with you to meet with someone in SAS, or at least to make the appointment or to look into this a little bit more, so that there can be some of that support without the friend trying to solve all the problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Remembering that you can be there for the people that you love, but also knowing that it's okay to use the resources that are available to you. So, to kind of wrap up today's episode, can you guys just share one more time about the best ways to reach out to student assistance services? And then also, if there's any other resources on campus you guys recommend, because clearly you guys have such a wealth of knowledge about things that can help our students.
Sure. So to get in touch with Student Assistance Services, or SAS, you can come visit our office. We're on the second floor of the Student Services Building in Suite 209. They can certainly call, which is 979-845-3113. They can email studentlife@tamu.edu. So those would be, I think, the best ways to reach out. They can also use the Tell Somebody reporting, and that will get to the appropriate office as well, which often is Student Assistance Services.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the episode today. I know these resources are so valuable to students on campus and can really make a difference in so many lives. Thanks, and gig 'em.